Welcome to our video, and great that you are interested in deploying our SCEPman. In this video, we will focus on our version 2.0. In general, I think deploying SCEPman is quite easy. So for sure what you need is an Azure and a Microsoft 365 tenant, but that's basically it. And currently we offer two options for you to deploy SCEPman. The first one, you also see it on the slides, is via Azure Marketplace. So just go ahead, open your Azure portal and search for SCEPman. Then you will see our logo, click on Get It Now, and then you need to fill out some things, like for example the resource group name and your organization name, and then that's basically it. Azure will then deploy all needed resources, like our app service or the key vault, for example, and then you basically have everything up and running. But let us also have a look on our second option. You can also go to our documentation. You can simply reach the docs from us under docs.scepman.com, and it's always important to look into our docs because there is everything explained in details. And there you will find the enterprise deployment, as you also see it on the slides. Just choose one of the three links in yellow. Those three links are basically our different channels of SCEPman. So for example, our production channel with the stable version, and we also offer you the option to use our beta or internal channel if you want to test something. The good thing here is you are directly landing in the Azure portal, and with this deployment option you can even specify more of the settings. So here you're very flexible in also defining the names of your resources. That's not fully possible via the marketplace deployment. So I would say, Thorsten, let's demonstrate this option also in your tenant.
Okay. Starting from docs, you can go to deployment options, enterprise deployment, and as Steffen already mentioned, choose your channel that you want to deploy.
Let's
you
choose
should
the production
have another
channel.
tab already logged into Azure portal, best case. So now when you click the production link, it will ask you to verify which of your credentials that you want to use. You should always use an administrator credential, of course. And then you get to the sheet where you need to fill out some basic information. You need to select the subscription. You can select an existing resource group, or we will just create a new one. Let's call it SCEPman V2. Then your region, which is pre-selected for my tenant already. You will have to specify your organization name, and this should usually be your fully legal corporate name, like Acme Holding SE in this example. And then at least you need to replace this unique name string with your short handle. Best case, everything in lowercase and no spaces. Like here, we just will use Acme for the example. But as Steffen mentioned, you can also just fully change everything to your naming scheme that the Azure colleagues might have defined already. And then if you have already a license key, you could fill out. We will just do it with a try license here.
But maybe important to say it's also easy to switch to the enterprise version of SCEPman later. So you can start with the trial and deploy it later as enterprise one.
Absolutely, yes. Can be switched at any point. After validation has passed, we can click on Create and wait for it to deploy all the resources, which typically should take about 2 to 4 minutes.
Yeah. And I would say let's complete with our slides to already explain the next steps you need to do. So SCEPman should be already up and running after you have started the deployment. And as Thorsten said, this might take maybe 1 or 2 minutes to succeed. And after you have done those steps, we recommend you to run a post-installation script. Here it depends on existing upgrades and new installations. Due to we are now making a new deployment here, it's important to run the script. We have added a PowerShell script to PowerShell Gallery that you now need to execute. For sure, you will need some rights here, like global admin, and if you run the script on your client, you will also need the Azure CLI installed. When you have everything prepared, just run some 2 simple arguments, some simple commands, downloading the SCEPman module itself, and then executing it. On upgrades, you will get additional prompts. Here on a new installation, there should be no prompts at all. Maybe some words on the script, what's behind. There it is important to say that SCEPman version 1 used an app registration to authenticate against Microsoft Graph and Intune. With SCEPman version 2, we now use managed identities. This managed identity, for example, is set up by the script automatically and will also get all needed rights assigned. For upgrades, the script also deploys, for example, the SCEPman certificate master and the blob storage. But that's basically it. If you want to get more details on that, what's behind the script, just check our documents, our docs on docs.scepman.com.
After the deployment is complete, we can now open up the newly deployed service. In the resource group, we now see all these items. We have SCEPman itself, then the certificate master, the app service plan, which brings the compute power, the key vault where the keys are stored, and the storage account where certificate master is writing down some information and things about the certificates. So now we go to the SCEPman resource, and on the top right, we can click the URL to open up the interface. And here we see that not everything is green already, and that we here have some code where we need to execute some scripts of us to complete the installation. And the simplest way is to use the Azure Cloud Shell here on the top right in the Azure portal, because we are already authenticated in this browser session. And then we can simply paste it, which will first get our module for SCEPman from the PowerShell gallery, and then execute the complete command.
Yes, and when you use the command that is stated also on the side, you also see some output that gives you always a status what's running behind the scenes.
Now create this managed identity and link all the resources together.
Yeah, and as said, normally with new deployments, you don't get additional prompts here. Only when you do an upgrade, you might get asked for some things to define.
Okay, now this is done.
Great. That's basically it now. So your SCEPman should be now up and running, as you also see it on the slides here. So on the left side, maybe not yet all, because there are some additional things to do that Thorsten will show later, but the most of the things should now show as connected. The hint you have seen before with the commands for the script is also gone now. So if the script has been executed successfully, you won't see this hint anymore. Important now to mention, if you want to use Certificate Master, which is one of our enterprise features, you need to make sure that you grant yourself access to the enterprise app. So Certificate Master is automatically added also by the script to your Azure AD under Enterprise Applications, and there you have the possibility to add yourself or additional admins that they can access the portal with their Azure AD accounts. I would say let's switch back to Thorsten to see if everything is working on his end. And yeah, I think we only have to do some small things now.
Yeah, so basically you have to go to Azure Active Directory, Enterprise Applications, find the enterprise application named CertMaster. You might have to switch this to any for it to show up. And then on users and groups, you go ahead and add the admin accounts that should be admin to manage the cert master or to access the cert master and issue the certificates. And also when we hit refresh, we will see that the command is gone that we need to execute. On the right, we could start the link with a PKI, with the cert master, but we also see that not everything is done already because we see the vault is not connected, and that is because we have not yet generated the root certificate itself.
So that's
now
okay.
For this, we need to...
Yeah, it's not really an error here. It's okay that it's not connected because we have to do some additional things now. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. This is the next step. Then we click here. And this is just to make sure that you do not do it multiple times, even if you plan some more complex environments. We create the first node here. And then it says this will take a little, but usually this is quite fast. And now we see that the vault is connected and that basically the setup is done. And this concludes our installation of SCEPman version 2.
Yeah, that's it.